Hi, this is Ren,
This is Casey.
and this is All Walks of Film. We went to Godzilla Fest last week,
Yay!
and it was a great experience for the most part.
Mhm.
So, we had talked and said that we were going to meet people, and we met people from Reddit. And unfortunately, we weren't able to see them afterwards because I did pass out in the Caesar outfit. But,
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
okay. Well, do you want to talk about it? Okay. Well, anyways, I passed out in the Caesar outfit. And just as a forewarning for anyone who's listening, spirit gum can put you out if you put too much of it on your face. I had mouth and nose plaster or
It was a latex mask that covered your nose and your mouth.
yeah, and I just inhaled way too much fumes from the spirit gum, and I knocked out. And this would knock anybody out, what I found. So, yeah, but other than that, we had a great time. We were with Mallory from the BCAS cult, and she had a really good time. And she was there with her friend Kevin as well.
Who's also your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now also my friend.
Yeah. So let's just go over some of the things that we did at Godzilla Fest.
Okay.
So there were a lot of panels. Most of the panels were for the films that came out. So there was a panel for Planet X.
Yeah.
Which is one of the lesser Godzilla movies, but it is still an interesting Godzilla movie.
But the panelist was super funny. He was on a lot of panels, and he was one of my favorite personalities that I saw all weekend, because he was this really funny Southern guy. And I'm from Texas, so I thought it was funny. And he had the most delightful phrases ever. Like, he ended almost every sentence with, "That's for sure." It was super funny. But one time he was talking about something that happened to him when he was little, and he said, "I saw this on the TV when I was just a carpet crawler." I was like, "A carpet crawler? That is awesome." Can you just use more delightful, cute colloquialisms like that? Because that's adorable. And he knew his stuff. Like, there's a reason why he was on so many panels, was he knew everything about everything. He was super, super smart, but he was also very cute and funny.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about Godzilla Fest is there are a lot of people who know a lot about the kaiju genre. It's not just Godzilla. Like, people really know the kaiju genre. And this year they were commemorating Gamera.
Right, because it's the 50th anniversary of Gamera?
Yes, it's the 50th anniversary of Gamera, and last year was the 60th anniversary of Godzilla.
Right.
And I've watched just about every single Gamera movie except I'm missing the last two, which I'm going to watch, but I just haven't gotten to it yet because I've been really busy.
Yeah.
So you saw a panel that was really awesome with Tezuka.
I did. I went to his interview, which was 2 hours, with Masaki Tezuka, who directed Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Those were the 3 he directed.
Yeah, and those are easily some of the best of the Millennium.
Well, he also worked on the last 2 Rebirth of Mothra movies, which the 3rd Rebirth of Mothra movie is far and away the best one out of the trilogy. And he also did special effects work for JMK. So he's very heavily involved. He kind of got into directing via special effects, which, as somebody who's super into pre-production, I'm like, yay! You appreciate pre-production, you do design work, you do special effects, you're awesome. So I was like squeeing, and while I was in the audience, I was just, ah.
Well, you know what 2 other famous directors started out in special effects, right?
Cronenberg?
No.
Oh, okay. I would have thought so. Just based on his style. That's all I was assuming.
What's funny is they both worked with each other, and without one, you wouldn't have the other. So James Cameron worked under Roger Corman, and then became a film director, and then Neil Blomkamp worked under James Cameron for the TV show Dark Angel.
Right.
And then became his own special effects person.
Yeah,
later.
I definitely knew Neil Blomkamp because I've seen every work he's ever done that's available online. I've seen every little short and advertisement he's ever made.
Did you see the little alien meat factory thing?
Yeah.
That one was really cool.
It's
hard to find. Cool. That one especially is hard to find. But yeah, so Godzilla Fest was really fun.
Well, Tezuka he was such a cool guy because it was interesting to hear about his direction. And he talked about why he made the canon the way he made it. Because in his canon, Godzilla happened, the movie, the 54 movie. Mothra happened, Rodan happened, the War of the Gargantuas happened. And they were all sort of referenced in the movie. And then none of the other Godzilla movies happened. Which kind of is just like, dude, well, what about those movies? But he said the reason why was because he liked the idea of Godzilla just sort of stomping on buildings and people being afraid of Godzilla. So he was trying to go back to that original concept of him. But he also said something that made me so happy. He said, I always have to, like, really remember this because it was so awesome. They made Godzilla so kids would be like, oh, Godzilla! And he would do a little... And he made little motions for, like, the little dance thing he did in some of the more silly Godzilla, where he's like, arr, arr. He made this little motion. And it was super cute. I didn't like that. I was just like, yes, Tezuka, you understand. Yes. Apparently, when they made Godzilla do those little silly dances, it was based off of a comedian who was super popular at the time. And a lot of people on set were like, should we be doing this with Godzilla? Like, even at the time, people were like, really? And apparently directors were just like, well, kids will like it, so there you go.
Yeah. One thing that I will say is, I personally think that a movie should never, ever cater to kids. Mm-hmm. Because kids are the easiest audience.
Right, like...
Like, you don't have to please them. Like, you don't have to throw all this kiddie stuff. Granted, they might like it at the time, but 5 years from now, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Granted, there are some people who watch movies with a serious case of nostalgia. I can't do it myself. Like, I can't appreciate a movie as if I were watching it when I was a child. Right. The movie has to be objectively good for me to do that, and it has to have objectively good scenes in it in order for me to appreciate that.
Right. And with Tezuka, the thing that I think is his biggest strength when it comes to his movies is he focuses so much on the connection between the humans and the kaiju. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a positive connection or a negative connection, there is a very deep impact there. And I like it because Toho has had a history of really good, let's say, non-kaiju characters. Because you do have to incorporate humans, shobijin, aliens, and robots. Because that's awesome. They're really good about creating these characters, and also really good at creating the kaiju, and really good at dealing with the impact of it. And Tezuka takes it one step further and sort of makes them really connected to one another. And I like that, and it's a big part of the reason why I'm just so infatuated with Kiru, and is because I love the connection that Akane has. She's so deeply connected to Godzilla because she's seeking vengeance against him, but also super connected to Kiru because Kiru connects with her on, like, they connect to each other on a mental level. But Kiru is also Godzilla because he's made from the Godzilla G cells, which is awesome. So Kiru has his own thing with Godzilla, even though he's a robot. I'm just like, all of my feels cry.
Yeah, and Kiryu is probably my favorite rendition of Godzilla because I love the 1954 Godzilla.
And Kiryu is from the 54 Godzilla.
Yeah, he 100%. He is the resurrected Godzilla.
Right. Which is awesome.
Yeah, so
And then Lashobishin come back and say, no, this was a crime against nature. Rah, rah, rah. I desperately wanted to ask Tezuka about that, though, because he was so awesome about going back to the very origins of a lot of the kaiju. So Godzilla for sure. But definitely the way he handled Mothra and the Shobijin was so close to the original Mothra movie in Godzilla vs. Mothra.
even though I think that the outfits were better in the original, but that's
like, what I wanted to ask him was, obviously you had to change the casting. You couldn't get the Peanuts again. That wouldn't work. But what was the concept behind the change? Because they suddenly made the Shobijin much more simplistic, which is, it still looks cute. But I wanted to know what was the thought behind the casting, because I do like those Shobijin in Tokyo SOS much, much, much better than the Ellis sisters. Like, way better casting.
Yeah, the Ellis sisters were in the Rebirth of Mothra series.
Right, and it was Mal, Laura, and Belvera.
Oh god, Belvera. She was hot, but she was painful.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah. So I just wanted to know conceptually the idea behind the change. I get that you have to change it, but like I wanted to know the idea behind why they made the changes they did specifically, like what the concept was. But it was cool because during the break they played like this little music video of the Shobijin doing the Mothra thing, and it was choreography that I haven't been able to find online, and it was super cute. And like they actually do stuff with each other, which was cute. I prefer that when performers work together and not do the same routine separately. That annoys me. So he was really cool, and he was super cool. and I fangirled too hard when I saw him because I went to go get his autograph and I tried to be really cool, but I wasn't. But I was really trying to keep it in and be like, thank you so much, this is so cool. And we took a picture and he gave me a thumbs up and I freaked out and I got like a foot away from his table but still like right in front of him, and I just lost my shit because I was so happy.
Yeah, you fangirled hard.
But he was just so cool. He was so cool, and he shook my hand and he gave me a thumbs up. And he's very awesome. I got to sit like right next to him, you guys.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And yeah, I have this thing where I try to speak whatever person's native tongue is if I know anything, and like I might sound bad, but to me it seems respectful. Right,
which is why I didn't really get to say what I wanted to say because I only knew half the words I wanted to say to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much stuck with saying thank you, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say stuff, and I only knew like half the words off the top of my head because I was really, really nervous.
Okay. Yeah. And then we went to the dealer's room because, I mean, at these conventions, dealer's room.
Right.
That's where it's at.
There's two booths in particular that are just super, super, super awesome in terms of really good stuff for a really good deal.
Right. And I personally prefer the miniature stuff. I know a lot of people go in for the bigger models, but I like having a large collection of various kaiju, but in miniature forms.
Right. And I doubled my collection. I got a lot of Kiru stuff this year.
Yeah. But you always get more stuff than I do.
Well, because I get cheaper stuff. I get like really chibi stuff.
Yeah.
Like the biggest models I got this year are the biggest models I own, period. And I got really big Kiru and Godzillas that were build-it-yourself models, because build-it-yourself models are my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that, and I really wish I had gotten one. Yeah, but I might look for that online or something.
They had really great dioramas, though, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got a diorama of Gamera and Zigra, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What sucks about the Gamera movies, and I'm sure I might get some hate for this, but like the monsters have very similar names. Like their names don't like really stand out that much, even though the monsters do.
Yeah.
That and I marathoned it, so.
Yeah, so they blur together a little bit.
Yeah, so in the future I'll try to watch them a little bit more spaced out, but I was really trying to I was really trying to watch all of them before Godzilla Fest, and I just couldn't make it because we were working on the Caesar outfit.
Yeah. I did get to break out my Yuri cosplay that I spent a whopping $6 on to get a shirt that looked like hers. But I get to go as Yuri from JMK, which was awesome, because Yuri's not my favorite, but she's like my second favorite.
Yeah, well, she was one of your favorites until you saw Akane.
Yeah, she was my favorite until the very next movie. And then I saw Akane and I was like, no, you're my favorite. So
Yeah.
I'll probably do Akane next year when I have the time to actually make the costume.
Yeah. So
it's nice having like Ningen that you can run around as. That's more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it was cool because last year there were so few people in costume. It was really odd because I'd never been to a convention where like nobody was in costume. But this year people were running around in big kaiju costumes, and that was really neat.
Yeah.
It was super fun. They were like battling each other in the hallways. It was awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about our history with kaiju movies.
Okay.
So what is the first kaiju movie that you saw?
King Kong 33.
Okay.
I did see that before I saw Peter Jackson.
Cool. Mine was actually King Kong 76.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's also interesting because Jessica Lange is the
right.
Is
and
the Fey Ray
she's
character.
Such a hottie, don't you?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not disagreeing with you.
Back in the day, she was smoking hot, and nowadays she's really hot for her age. Even though I think that Caitlyn Jenner is stealing a little bit of her charm because of the similarities in appearance.
Mm.
But yeah, and I saw the '98 Godzilla in the theaters, and without knowing, I didn't know anything about Godzilla when I saw it. So
Well, 98 is Gino. Godzilla in name only. That's it.
yeah, I mean, like,
Even Tezuka said that he would really like the movie if it wasn't called Godzilla. Just call it anything else and it would have been fine.
like Iguana,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie I personally think is objectively terrible, though.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been as offensive.
Right. Though, question: which one do you think's more offensive? Are we gonna get into this controversial talk?
No.
Okay.
No, let's focus on Godzilla Fest.
Okay.
That's like a whole full other podcast, especially coming from me.
Okay. Well,
I did have a very interesting conversation with Joyce Boss. I mean, it was an interesting conversation overall, but we talked about the new movie, the 14 movie specifically.
Okay.
And we had a very interesting conversation.
So, more from that, we will watch the 2014 movie again.
No, I mean, yes, but no.
And then we will talk about it after.
At least I can actually scream at it as much as I wanted to in the theaters.
Well, we'll be able to watch it again, having now seen all of the Godzilla movies to objectively compare it to all the other ones, and as well as watching the first one again.
Right.
Which I own on the Criterion Blu-ray, which is an absolutely gorgeous transfer, and also they have an amazing commentary that gives historical context to everything.
Right, and I feel lucky and unlucky at the same time that the first time I saw Godzilla was in a movie theater. So I got a really cool experience seeing it on the big screen, and it was the original subbed, not dubbed, not the Raymond Burr version. But I also feel unlucky because the audience was really crappy because they kept laughing at the very serious moments. It wasn't even things of like, oh, well, that effect was cheesy. They were just laughing when he was very serious.
Well,
like,
they were...
Dude, you guys.
It's one of those things where, like, some people, when they watch older movies, regardless of how competent the special effects are, since it doesn't look super realistic, they'll laugh at it.
But it wasn't even an effects thing, because half the time it wasn't an effect. Half the time it was something really serious just happened. And they were laughing at it like, oh, Godzilla's trying to be serious. What's going on? It's like, yes, it is.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I like about the original Godzilla is it's serious as cancer, and it is a war movie.
Mm-hmm.
It through and through.
It is.
It is their atomic bomb movie.
It is, and especially because it was the first war movie that was made about World War II. There were no movies made like that before Godzilla. That was the first one. In Japan.
Yeah.
According to Joyce Voss, I believe. In her panel, she talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Right?
I believe so, yeah. There was a movie called Black Rain, and there have been a couple war movies, but I'm not sure the exact dates of them.
Yeah, it wasn't before Godzilla.
Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, like, what got you into Godzilla? Like, what was the one feature or something that got you into the Godzilla franchise?
Yeah, somebody at the convention actually asked me about that because I asked a question in a panel about distribution. It was during the Back to Planet X panel, and I asked a question about dubbing and distribution and stuff. And I explained to him, like, oh, well, I've been really into manga and anime since I was like 8, and the idea of distribution and changing depending on the country has always been super interesting to me. That's why I asked that particular question. But what got me into Godzilla? No, I don't want to tell you. It's going to be so embarrassing. It's not cool. It's really not cool.
Go ahead. It's fine.
This is so not okay. I realize this. So people can make fun of me and I'll be like, yeah, you're right. This is dumb. But I grew up with Tim Burton, and Tim Burton really has a lot of references to kaiju and monsters and things like that. So just because I grew up with Burton from a younger age, you know, I saw this stuff and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I saw what he was referencing and I was like, oh man, this is so much cooler. Like, I'll admit that. Burton's never really done kaiju or monsters as good as the stuff he's referencing, I know. But that's just kind of how I got into it. So.
Right. So mine is almost as equally embarrassing though.
Nuh-uh.
I was a huge fan of King Kong, right. And I was a huge fan of the remake of King Kong as well. And when I was preparing to see Pacific Rim in the theater,
Pacific Rim's awesome.
I went out and bought the original Godzilla movie.
Okay.
And I watched it, and it was so good, and I wasn't expecting that caliber of film. Mm-hmm. I was expecting something more like King Kong, where it's charming, it's cheesy, but it's not, outside of the special effects realm, is as weighty as some other films.
Right.
And I was totally blown away. Like, this is absolutely a film that deserves its place in the Criterion Collection.
Yes.
It's amazing.
There is no Godzilla movie better than 54. Many come very close. Mm-hmm. And if you take away 54 and you ask me which one's the best one, I will just sit here and blubber for hours on end because I can't tell you. But 54 comes out, 54 comes out on top every time. Yep. Just because, boom.
And for me, my favorite Godzilla movies are the more serious Godzilla movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm such a softie for the Showa period, the early Showa period. I'm not talking about, like, Godzilla's Revenge or anything, because fuck Minya! Sorry, guys, but fuck Minya! Ew. But
Minya is like Jar Jar Binks.
No, I will not say that.
Not
no,
that bad.
No, that is way too far. Okay. That is way too far, because Minya at least doesn't talk. I mean, he does, but not like, ugh. No, you take that back right now.
I will. I'm taking it back.
No Godzilla kaiju is as bad as Jar Jar Binks.
No, Jar Jar Binks is an abomination.
Yeah. But I do have a soft spot for, like, the Planet X movie. The King Ghidorah movie, I should say. I really like Godzilla versus Abira because of all the Mothra stuff, not even because of Abira, because I love the Infant Island stuff and I love the Mothra stuff and I love Deo? I believe that's her name, Deo. I might be wrong, Dio? I think it's Dio, yeah. But I really like her. I really like Glenn and Namikawa so much. I saw a lot of Namikawa stuff this year, which was cool. I saw like fan art and dolls and like little miniatures. I really like Namikawa. It would be so cool if a bunch of chicks went to Godzilla Fest all dressed up as Namikawa and they could be the clone army. Oh my god, that would be so cool. Also, where is the love for the Shobijin in the dealer's room?
Where's the love for the Shobijin in art, period?
Yeah, we saw one poster where they were in the corner and that was it. Because the Shobijin are awesome.
But I don't understand, like, why there isn't artwork, well, because I haven't made it yet, but why there isn't artwork with Mothra and the Shobijin.
Well, I was just like, where are the models for the Shobijin, too? Because both years, I only saw one thing, and it was like a $75 kit that came with Godzilla and Kiru, and it came with the new Shobijin from Against Mechagodzilla. But they were really, like, the models for Godzilla and Kiru were very good, but the models for the Shobijin were crap. Like, they didn't even look like the Shobijin.
They were like,
like, really cheap off-brand Barbie doll looking.
Yeah. I was gonna say Bratz, but, like, the articulation of Bratz is pretty decent. It's
just more chibified.
Yeah.
And they weren't, like, really chibified like that. They were just kind of, like,
off-brand.
Yeah.
It was, what's her daughter's name?
Oh, Skipper.
Skipper?
Is it Skipper or Kelly?
I think it's Kelly.
Dude, how embarrassing is it that I know this shit? Okay, before you guys get on me, there's a very specific reason I know this shit. I have an aunt who has a giant collection of collectible Barbies. And they all, like, have the boxes and the names and stuff. That's how I know this stuff. I was not a doll person growing up.
Here's the thing, like...
But I saw, like, the boxes with all the names.
Here's the thing. We're nerds. We collect this shit. And I think this is a... Well, I think this is a safe space for, like, talking about nerddoms. Because I collect movie figures.
Yeah. And
kaiju figures. And, you know, other people collect My Little Pony stuff or... Yeah. You know, American Girl and all this other stuff. Which, I mean, that's fine. You know, it's cool.
The only doll thing I really liked when I was a kid was I had a little baby pig. That was, like, laying on its back so its belly was showing and it would drink a little bottle. And that was, like, the only doll thing I liked when I was growing up was this little baby pig.
I don't know. I had, like, a baby doll that I, like, treat like a baby. When I was a kid, I could not understand this. Like, even when I was little, I could not understand this thing of, like, dude, I'm a baby. Why are you giving me a baby to take care of? It's cool that you like baby dolls, but I thought it was super awkward. I think it's a psychological phenomenon.
Yeah.
But because kids like to imitate their parents. So if their parents are taking care of kids, they want to take care of kids in their own little playset. I mean, that's why, like, half the playsets are, like, kid versions of what your parents do. Like
kitchens and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we saw a lot of cool costumes too.
Yeah, we did. It was cool to see a lot of people in costume.
Yeah, I really like the War of the Gargantuas one because that was the other pair that was there.
I also was a lot more comfortable this year because I wasn't wearing the Infant Island native costume. Yeah. And I felt better for two reasons. One, I was more comfortable temperature-wise because last year it was freezing. Yeah,
they aren't consistent.
No.
You know, that's one thing I will warn you, coming from experience. They aren't consistent with the heat, the heating system, the air conditioning. So I would... If you're going to wear, like, a kaiju outfit or something like that, make sure that you have good ventilation. Make sure that you drink plenty of water, and you know, just be careful because, you know, I'm not somebody who goes down, but, you know, I went down, so anybody can.
Yeah. But the other thing too was that last year, because of the little skimpy outfit I was wearing, when I was in the dealer's room and stuff, people would kind of make room for me.
Yeah.
So I could, like, go look at the tables and stuff. And I'd be like, no, it's okay. I will wait in line like everybody else.
Well,
And
you were also really cute, so.
I know, but I was like, I will wait my turn like everyone else. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll get to see it too. It's fine. I don't need
Female
special treatment.
privilege.
Well, I'm not willing to accept my female privilege. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
just like, it's really nice of you, but you go ahead first. I can wait. And this year, since I was more fully clothed, like, people were like, oh, I see you, and took pictures with me, which is awesome. But I wasn't really like, oh, no, you go first. I was kind of treated like everyone else, so that was good.
Yeah. So, that being said, do you have a top 5 favorite Godzilla kaiju?
Oh, it was Godzilla Kaiju?
Well,
because that's the reason why my list was so long, was because, you know, we were making lists. Yeah. And I made like a top 10 because I couldn't fit.
Well, I do want to do another one where we actually talk about our personal 10.
Okay, well, if we're only talking about Godzilla, then I'm good. Okay. I know exactly what my list is.
Okay.
So I'm good if it's just Godzilla. My number 1 is Mothra. Of course, because just... I love the fact that she's a moth, which is so delicate, who can pick Godzilla up and throw him around. That is badass, you guys. And I know they try to make her all glittery, and half the time I'm like, ew, glitter. But half the time, you know, she's super awesome. I love the fact that she can reincarnate. That's super cool. I love the Shobijin. I love the larva. They're all awesome. So Mothra, number 1 for sure. Then, after that, the rest of it's not in order. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. I like Hedorah, because Hedorah is the only one that actually scares the shit out of me. I was like, how do you beat this? And also because I grew up as a tree-hugging environmental hippie, so I really like this idea of the shit that humans brought upon the earth coming back to bite them in the ass.
You'll like The Host, then.
Yeah.
That's a Korean kaiju movie.
Yeah. I love Kiru for the reasons I've already stated. I love King Caesar because fuck yeah, awesome. And then Godzilla, obviously. But like I said, it's not in that order. Godzilla's not like my number 5. Okay. It's just Mothra's number 1 and the rest are pretty much tied.
All right, well, my favorite is, of course, the King of Monsters, Godzilla.
Okay.
And then I would say probably King Caesar, even though, yeah, he got his ass kicked, but part of me really wishes that he would get his own movie.
In a time period piece, that would be really cool.
Yeah, in a time period piece where he's not fighting a character with, you know, missiles and stuff. Mm-hmm. Where he can actually, you know, rain terror on the earth.
Right.
I also like it. I like King Caesar because he is a Shiza. Mm-hmm. Which is really cool, and he also reminds me of the Monkey King, which I'm sure is what his name comes from, because the Monkey King
is from the Monkey King, and Shiza is just Shiza.
Yeah,
like the actual Shiza creature. So
yeah, because in the story of the Monkey King from Journey to the West, there was a monkey who was really mischievous, and they decided to lock him into a mountain.
Yeah.
For like 1,000 years, and then he came.
Which is his exact backstory.
Yeah.
For King Shiza.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
And he is supposed to be like a monkey dog.
Yeah. King Shiza is so awesome.
Yeah.
And then I would probably say Mothra. Mothra is I like her because she is a protector. Mm-hmm. She also is competent, even though how many renditions of Mothra have we seen? Like, Mothra dies a lot, but then is resurrected, and then you have twin
Jesus
Mothra
figure, which I think is part of the reason why the cross is a part of her symbol.
Yeah, she's always getting resurrected. It's never the same Mothra. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I also like. Mothra is the only character that dies and comes back, but it's not the same kaiju.
Well, because she's a mother. She's always rebirthing through her children.
Right. That's one issue that I do have with Godzilla. I don't like this aspect of Godzilla being the same Godzilla in every movie.
But he's not. Because he's the 54 Godzilla, then he's a different Godzilla pretty much throughout the rest of the series until Tezuka's Godzilla, because it goes back and uses the original Godzilla.
So in the 1984 one, was that a different Godzilla or was that Godzilla from the 54? If you know, please let us know, because it's really hard to tell.
Because with Godzilla, it's not just Tezuka changing the canon. So many people change the canon.
Right.
Like, there are so many different overlapping timelines and ideas.
If you know a website that actually distinguishes the different Godzilla timelines, please put it in the comments below or send us an email at allwalksoffilm@gmail.com.
Right, because we've seen every Godzilla movie, but we've seen most of them once.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that will change over time.
But that's a lot of Godzilla movies.
It is a lot. There are more Godzilla movies than there are James Bond movies.
Yeah.
So, and technically speaking, I think Godzilla is the oldest franchise.
I think so too.
Like the oldest franchise that kept running. Because a lot
King Kong just kept getting remade. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, King Kong never got picked up and made into a series. I mean, there was some Toho stuff.
He got ripped off a lot.
Yeah. Mighty Joe Young and Kong.
There was another one. Yeah.
Queen Kong.
Okay, so you said Mothra.
Yeah.
So you said Godzilla, King Caesar, Mothra.
Biollante. I really like Biollante.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's kind of like the Venus flytrap from
You're talking about the Audrey 2.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Audrey 2.
But more menacing and not as much fun.
Yeah, more menacing, and unfortunately I didn't see the proper ending to...
Yes, you did. You just didn't see the director's cut, but you saw the ending before you saw the movie, and yet you still bitch about that movie, even though it's a good movie. Ugh.
We're talking about Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes, yeah. But even the ending that they came up with, which, yes, was... The director, Frank Oz, did have to pussy out because of pressure from the Hollywood system. He actually had the real kaiju ending and it was filmed, but because of the audience response, which is dumb because the stage play always had this ending. It always had the ending and it was fine, but then people who didn't really know the source material saw the movie and didn't like the ending because it was too dark. So Frank Oz had all this pressure from Hollywood to make a happy ending. But even though he made a happy ending, he still had the little bit at the end to really put that menace back into it. He did his best, okay?
Okay. Well, okay, so Biollante is one for me. And
you've got one more.
I've got one more. And there's so many, and it's really hard because there are a lot that I like. But I'm probably gonna say King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah rules.
Yeah. It depends on which one. I actually kind of like Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Even though that technically...
I even like the redesign that they used in Final Wars.
Yeah, I liked it once the transformation happened.
It was cool seeing this initial stage and then seeing the transformation and then seeing the Ghidorah that we know and love.
But I will say I really like Hedorah. I don't get a lot of hate for Hedorah. I get it. He looks like a shit monster or whatever like that, but he's sludge. I mean, you know, he is the poison that we put into...
He's supposed to look really gross.
Yeah, I don't get the hate for him. He's definitely one of the most inventive.
Well, we saw a lot more Hedorah in the dealer's room this year, which was cool. I got a little Hedorah figure and a little Hedorah keychain, so I was happy.
I also like the fact that that's one of the few Godzilla movies that actually tries to be a movie instead of just be a Godzilla movie.
Right.
And the animated sequence is fucking amazing. That made it one of my favorite Godzilla movies, just the animated sequence alone.
Right.
Can
I go with my top 5 favorite non-kaiju characters?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, so my 5 favorite non-human characters. Seriously, by coincidence, and this is very rare. I know this sounds really cheesy because I understand, but this never happens to me, but it's happening this time because Toho rules. They're all female. By accident. Like,
Okay.
for real. Just by accident. Okay, so my top 5 non-kaiju favorite characters. And this rarely happens to me, but it's happening this time, so I'm sorry I'm gonna be the cheesy girl, but they're all female by coincidence, for real. So sorry about that. But number 5 is Azumi Priestess Nami, because she rules. I like that she kind of is dedicated to King Caesar, but she's also a wicked singer, so that's awesome. Number 4 is Namikawa. I very rarely like romance in media. It always feels super shoehorned in, and people make out, and I'm like, ew, gross. But I always like the couples in Toho movies, I don't know why. But Namikawa and Glenn was super cool because she's torn between her love for Glenn and her loyalty to her people. And she's also a clone, so you have that Rei from Neon Genesis Evangelion stuff in there without it being, without having Shinji involved. Because Shinji's kind of a brat. Number 3 is the Shobijin, because the Shobijin are awesome for obvious reasons. The Peanuts are my favorites, but the ones from Tokyo SRS are also super awesome. Number 2 is Yuri from JMK, because I love the fact that she's super gutsy. She runs around after kaiju to document it and be a journalist. It's super awesome. She runs around buying bikes and documenting everything, and I think she's super cool. And number 1, of course, is Akane, because I really like her connection to Kidu. I think she's an awesome, badass fighter. But then I think her story with the scientist dude and his daughter Sarah is super cute. I love that. I love her relationship with him. I love her relationship with his daughter. And the scene at the end where she's like, no, we had a draw, so I'll buy you dinner, was really cute. So yeah. So I've got Alien and Shobijin in there. Really, 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 really close. I consider tying, but I don't believe in tying, even though I do it all the time. I consider tying Mafune from the same movie, Terror of Mechagodzilla. The robot girl played by Tomoko Ai. I consider tying her with Azumi Priestess Nami, but really, who do I get more excited for when they're on screen?
So my favorite character is, of course, Dr. Shirazawa from the original Godzilla 1954.
Ah, damn it. I need to revise my list. Shit. Shirazawa is way, way better than Azumi Priestess Nami. Damn it.
All right.
Actually, you know what? All 3 of the characters from Godzilla, Shirazawa and the chick and the dude, I cannot remember their names. I'm sorry, I'm totally spacing, but all 3 of them were super awesome.
Emiko?
Yeah, Emiko, and who's the other one?
Kyoihei Yamane
Here, let me look at it.
Hakuse, the scientist,
Hang on.
played by Takashi Shimura.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So that's mine. And then
The scientist, he has a really hard to pronounce name. It's like Koyai.
he was the one who was constantly saying in the original Godzilla movie that like we should stop the tests.
Okay.
And then he was actually genuinely concerned for the kaiju. He was concerned
Right.
for Godzilla, which I thought was an interesting dynamic, especially when he was wreaking havoc on the entire city. Then I would say the Shobijin.
Sorry, don't
they
mean to
are
clap, but yes.
they are awesome characters. Then I would probably say the drunk homeless guy in Godzilla 1984.
Uh-huh.
That dude was hilarious. And rounding it all off, I would probably say Azumi Princess Nami. I think she's a
Okay.
really cool character.
Yeah, me too.
but my list might revise at some point.
Yeah.
Just because I was kind of put on the spot. I wasn't really thinking.
Well, I feel so stupid that I didn't put Shirazawa on my list.
Oh, that's fine.
No, it's not fine. I repent. Shame.
All right, and we'll probably do a podcast talking about like our favorite non-Godzilla kaiju.
Yeah, that's a different thing though.
Yeah. So, Godzilla Fest was really awesome, and we also want to know what your favorite kaiju are. So, please send us an email or put it in the description on YouTube, or you can do it on Podomatic because we have it. Not Podomatic, sorry, Podbean.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to our stuff on Podomatic, we did switch over to Podbean. So if you get confused, if you see the logo that looks almost exactly like our Podomatic one, that's us.
Okay.
We are All Walks of Film. So just let us know at allwalksoffilm@gmail.com or put in the description below what your favorite kaiju is. And please tell us why.
Yeah.
Too. I would rather you say who your favorite kaiju is, why, and whatever name you want us to call you, because I will say your name in the descriptions unless you want me to call you by something else.
Yeah. And we'll put it on our next kaiju podcast that we do, whenever that is, when we talk about other kaiju that we really like, and the 14. We'll redo that one because,
Well, the sound was terrible for our 14 one, so.
Well, right, so it's not posted anywhere. No, I'm just saying that because
it is posted
14.
on Podbean.
Oh, it
and
is.
Podomatic.
Okay.
So, people who want to listen to it, I did try to touch up the audio, but it was really hard because it was recorded
but
on an
we'll watch
iPhone
it again.
before.
Yeah, we'll watch it again and talk about it again, and I'll scream and raise hell about it.
Right. So, if you have any comments to say about the 1954 Godzilla, the 2014 Godzilla, or anything Godzilla, please let us know. Please let us know if you want us to cover a kaiju movie. We're thinking about covering Pulgasari because it's a North Korean kaiju movie.
Yeah, we should do another one once I catch up with you on Gamera.
Mm-hmm.
We watch Pulgasari and we talk about, we should also watch Daimajin. And we'll just talk about all the other kaiju. So we'll talk about like Pacific Rim.
We'll do a separate one for each one.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Well, we can do small.
We'll do like kaiju editions, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do kaiju editions. They'll be about 15 to 20 minutes, and that'll be good.
Okay, cool.
All right, so thanks for listening, guys, and please put comments below. Email us at allwalksoffilm@gmail.com, and we'll see you later. Chat?
Yeah.
That was kind of more on